Well, it's our May edition of Let's Get Growing, and things are heating up in the landscape, so let's get growing. We're into May, but there are still many vegetables that can be planted. Remember that you can start your little pots that you buy at the grocery store, feed store, the garden store, but make sure, whether you're planting from seed or containers, water before you put the seed out, water before you put the plants in, and then make sure to water thoroughly, and then you're going to water at least once a week until they're fully established. You can also plant caladium tubers if it's warm enough. We want warm nights and warm days, so when the nights are staying 60 or 70 degrees, we can plant caladiums. You can also plant your potted seedlings, as we mentioned before, and all your warm season annuals, particularly this time of year, periwinkles, portulaca, and moss rose. Watch for every kind of pest because this is their time. Bagworms on your conifers, fungus on the roses, mildew on crepe myrtles, and if your crepe myrtles are getting mildew, that's because they're probably not getting enough air circulation. You can always use insecticidal soap to get rid of that. White flies on gardenias and your ligustrum, remember they'll be on the bottom side of the foliage, and here we can use the superior horticultural oil. Aphids are going to be on the new growth of everything. Get them while they're young, and you can use diatomaceous earth or the insecticidal soap. You could also have caterpillars on that Boston ivy that's growing up the wall. Remember, you'll see the damage and not the caterpillars. And once again, use BT. In May, there's still many more things to do in the landscape. And so if you have compacted areas where foot traffic has been compacting the soil, aerate your lawn. And don't just punch a hole. We want to remove a core. As you see them do at the golf course, and there'll be those little piles of soil everywhere, little lumps of soil. That's the core that's been removed so we can get air and nutrients down to the root system. Mulch everything for the hot weather. Remember, it not only is going to keep moisture in and reduce the soil temperature, but it's going to keep your weeds from growing. Mow once a week. Remember, we don't want to be removing more than 1/3 of the total leaf blade at a time, or we'll be scalping the lawn. But put it in the compost pile, because don't bag it and put it on the curb. Prune all your spring blooming shrubs after they bloom, and you can just take them down to your second set of leaves and you'll be just fine. Do not lift or divide your daffodils or irises until they've finished blooming and all the foliage has turned brown on the bulbs. We want those nutrients to return to the bulb, and then you can divide them. In May, we'll have those late climbing spring blooming roses. Make sure you prune them back after the flush of spring blooms, and you're going to take out one old cane for every new cane that's coming out. And remember, you're going to remove at least 1/3 to 2/3 of the growth. If you're growing garden mums, remember to pinch the top out of them when they get to be around 6 inches tall, because we want them to bush out so that we'll have plenty of blooms this fall. And don't forget, feed the birds. Today I'm going to show you how to make ivy cuttings, and as you can see, we have beautiful leaves down here, but then we have this area in here where we've lost the leaves. So I'm going to show you how to make cuttings from ivy. So I'm going to cut it right below a leaf node, and then I'm going to remove this old stem for the flower, and then I'm going to cut right here above the leaf node. Now then, I have a cutting. So now, you see I have this container of fresh potting soil, and it's pre-moistened. And so we're going to start in the middle, and remember that the leaf grew up. So I left part of the petiole so that we'll know that it grows up. You can already see that it started air roots, but we want soil roots. So we're going to make a hole in this wet soil, start at the middle, and then push it in and firm it. Here, we're going to have to remove this inner node in between the leaves to get down again to a bud. And see how I've kind of left the leaf stem on so that you'll know which is up. And then we're going to make another hole and stick it in. Remove this piece of middle stem till we have, once again, you can see the node with the air root. And now I can leave a leaf on. And I'm going to make another little hole, stick this in, and firm the soil. Remove, once again, in between this piece of tissue. And then you can see we have a leaf at the top and a leaf at the bottom. We're going to remove the bottom leaf, leave the top leaf. But once again, you can see our air roots. So we're going to make another hole towards the middle. Point the leaf to the outside. Get it in deep enough that the leaf node is covered and firm it in the soil. So we're going to remove the leaf inner node. Remove the bottom leaf. Leave the top leaf. Cut right up above the leaf node. Made a hole about, 2 inches deep. Stick it in and firm it up. Now then, we have one left. Cut below the leaf, cut the leaf off, and we have our new growing tip right here. This one will probably grow a little bit faster than the rest. And we firm it. This will fill this container full, and you'll end up with a basket that looks somewhat like this. You can take the 6-inch pot after it's rooted, repot it into a hanging basket. This basket is what we call also a combination basket. But as you can see, we have flowers. This is Dianthus, and it's a perennial. It'll come back every year. This is an airplane plant, and see how it makes the middle pop? You put your light colors in the middle and your dark around the edge. This is just what we call wandering Jew, and we can make cuttings from it just as we did with the ivy and stick it around the edge of the container. And this can be planted outside. It's a perennial basket that comes back every year in the ground. Now, if you're going to leave it in this basket all winter long, don't leave it hanging in the air. It's going to need to be settled into the ground to make it through the winter. And then you can pull it out of the ground when it starts to come out and hang it back on your porch. Man, May is starting to heat up, and we're going to have to really stay on top of that landscape. So just follow these rules that we've given you, or these tips from this month, and May will grow on for you.